Welcome to Love to See It, a podcast about the city women who are willing to consider being a farmer's wife. We've been absolutely loving season 3 of Farmer Wants a Wife. Unfortunately, Emma couldn't be here with me today for this very exciting episode because she is sick, and so it's just me. But I'm so excited to be joined today by two of the most intriguing characters from Farmer Wants a Wife this season, Julia Mya and Rachel Eve. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, I'm excited.
We're excited to have you. Emma is happy, from her sick bed. Um, because we were both really excited about your character. We're city girls. We loved having you guys on the show, like representing, and we were excited to learn more about both of you. So you were both sort of presented as like fish out of water on the farms. Julia, you were always joking, like, I'm from Malibu, I don't shovel poop. Rachel,
Yeah,
you're
I
from Queens. So, were you both like truly born and raised city girls before going on the show?
yes, I was. I'd never been
Yeah,
on a
same.
farm.
Never?
Mm-mm. No,
No school field trips, nothing?
nothing. No, I'd never been
Wow.
on a farm. I feel like my farm was more intense than hers, though.
It definitely was. It was. I would
Like,
have
Yeah.
preferred her farm, to be honest.
Oh,
oh,
really?
Yeah,
Rachel.
I love animals. I love like all that. I truly love. But like
Okay.
the planting, like flower, it was so boring to me. Like the avocados and it's lovely. It's beautiful, but it was boring to me. I'd rather be involved with like animals and all that.
That's interesting. Yeah, we were always saying like Matt's farm is such a different type of farm. It represents some diversity in the American farming world on the show. But if you were expecting like a sort of cow filled fantasy, it's not that.
Yeah.
Um, so lots of pop culture really sells us the fantasy of a city woman like finding herself in the country and falling in love with the farmer. Is that something that appealed to you guys? Did you always see yourselves ending up in a city, or were you like, oh, I'll be maybe like the Hallmark heroine who ends up on a farm?
I mean, me personally, I just thought I'll try it out. I never thought if it was gonna be 100%, but it was more so like if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
That was kind of me too. I wasn't sure. Like, I don't know where I'll end up living, just in general. And honestly, Malibu's kind of further out from like everything in LA. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, I could live somewhere that's a little further out because I'm used to that. But that was very, very far away.
You had no idea how far out things could get.
No.
So how did you end up on the show? Like, did you apply? Did you get scouted? What happened?
I kind of got scouted in a way. Just someone asked if wanted to apply for the show. And I was like, yeah, I'm single, and why not? That's how that happened for me.
What were you scouted like on social media or in
Yeah,
person?
social media.
Okay, so they like saw your profile on Instagram or something and they were like, you look
Yeah.
like you want to marry a farmer.
Yeah, I guess so. Something made them think like, yeah, the city girl wants to marry a farmer. Let's see if she wants to.
What about you, Julia?
The same. I got a DM on Instagram being like, would you want
Mhm.
to go on Farmer Wants a Wife? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I was very unsure just because I am so city. And they knew that I was really city and that wasn't really my vibe. But they were like, I think it would be like a good experience. And I was like down to try something new. I'm like 22. So I was like, I'll try something once.
Yeah, why not? I mean, what was the casting process like? Were they making you go through a lot of rounds of interviews or anything, or was it pretty quick?
It was quick. At least for me, like in terms of them getting back to me, it was quick, but the process was long. So it was a bunch of emails, things that you had to do, making sure that like all the information they had about you, they had to make sure they knew everything, to make sure you're completely sane before going on the show, if this is truly what you wanted, you know. But it was a long process. It really was. For some people, it may have been shorter, but it depends, like how when they got contacted prior to the show.
We had to do like a psych thing where they asked you like over 100 questions. Did you have to do that?
Yeah, everyone
Yeah.
has to do that.
It was a lot.
Julie, you were like, I think that they just thought I was a risk. Like, I specifically needed this.
Right. I was like, am I the only one?
No, they have to be careful. And at some point, my understanding is that you kind of get to weigh in on which farmer you might want to meet. Did you get sent like video dating profiles or something?
Yeah, we all did. We basically got a video clip of each farmer and little details about them, height, name, what they do. And there we picked on like a scale of which one we wanted. So we will put them in like first rank, second rank, third rank, fourth rank. So they can see, where the ranks lead up versus the farmer. The farmer will have to I think do the same thing where he had to rank everyone. So they kind of like put that together of who each one ranked each other and see, where they ranked each other to put them on the farm.
So some of the women maybe ended up on a farm that wasn't even their first choice, just
Yeah,
kind
that did
of.
happen to some girls. I do know some girls that had other picks and then they ended up with other guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it was
interesting.
actually a conversation when we were there, some of like switching. Some people wanted to like switch and stuff like that, but they were like, no, I think last
Hmm.
year they might have done some switches.
I feel like that could be mined for a lot of drama, but
Mhm.
that's just the viewer in me being like, I'd love to see them try to make that happen. So had you guys ever thought about being on a dating show other than this, like The Bachelor or Love Island, or was this opportunity like the one that was interesting to you?
I always would be nervous to go on dating shows just because I feel like it just always made me nervous because you can be edited in any way. And dating, I feel like on TV is just scary. I probably would do Love Island. The Bachelor, I've never really watched, but I've gotten a lot of DMs saying I should go on The Bachelor. But I've never, like, I need to watch it to really understand what it is.
Yeah, it's a very
Um,
specific thing.
Yeah, personally, I've always thought like since dating is so hard, especially in New York, I'm sure you know that like dating is just horrendous. And the type of people that you meet is kind of the same, and I kind of wanted to go outside of that and see who I would meet. So since it was so hard dating in New York, I was like I've always wanted to go on a dating show. I've always was like The Bachelor, Love is Blind, those were my favorite too. And I've seen like a lot of people ended up marrying whoever they met on the show and it's lasted. So that's what made me think like, you know what, let me try this because it might work out for me.
Yeah, the magic of the dating show in a time of the apps is so powerful. Like anything but the apps is what I often hear. Um, One day they'll do Love is Blind New York, I believe. I believe in that.
I believe in that. Oh
That
my
would be
Our
God.
time is
cool.
coming.
Please.
So how did you guys like prepare yourself for the culture shock and like the farm labor aspect going into this? Or were you surprised by
Oh,
that? Julia, you can start.
I wasn't prepared at all. Like, I didn't, and mind you, the process happened very fast for me. Like, they messaged me maybe like 2 months before we started filming. So for me, it was very quick, and I didn't have a lot of time to like prepare or think outfit wise. I didn't know. Like, I literally was just like throwing stuff. Even like the picture that I brought, I like threw that in my suitcase literally like the night of my flight. Like, I didn't prepare at all. I was not. No, and you can tell that I wasn't prepared. And when I got there, I was in more shock than I even thought. Like, I was like, oh, this is serious. Like, we're in Alabama, and like, and I was allergic to everything. Like, it was just really intense from the
And
start.
she didn't have a Starbucks to go to, so she was losing her mind.
Oh, they
So
wouldn't
when
let me,
he
they wouldn't take me to Starbucks, and I had to literally like cause a scene. And then once I like was serious, they started taking me. But like, yeah, it was a
You're
whole
like,
thing.
she needs her Starbucks.
No, and you know what? Actually, Grace loves Starbucks too, so she was like, "Thank God that you're like fighting so hard for Starbucks because then we all got our Starbucks."
I'm not
But
gonna lie to you, I actually had to sneak out to walk across the street to go to Starbucks. I had to.
Why are they
yeah,
restricting everyone's access to Starbucks? You
well,
gotta
I
have your
didn't have a
No,
Starbucks.
no,
phone.
Yeah,
You
no,
couldn't do
it's true.
anything. They wanted just somebody with you at all
Yeah, yeah,
times.
yeah.
But what I would do is when we would go to Starbucks, I would buy Trenties and I would get it with my drink with no ice, and I'd get like 3 or 4 for the whole week, and then I'd stick it in the fridge
Oh
and
my
I'd write my
goodness.
name on it, and that is how I had my Starbucks every morning I was there.
I actually didn't know about that.
No, well,
That's
yeah, no, I haven't
brilliant.
really told anyone about that, but yeah, that's what I did because I was like, I have like a migraine. I was like, this is terrible. Yeah.
That's incredible. No other coffee is like Starbucks coffee. It's true. Like you can't just go cold turkey off of Starbucks.
Yeah, I was like, this is
Yeah.
crazy.
So, Julia, I've been meaning to ask you about that photo from the speed date with Jay because that was, I think, a moment in the first episode when Emma and I were like, okay, this season is going to be a cut above.
Right.
Because what is this? Like, she has a framed picture of herself in a swimsuit with a cowboy hat on to show that she will fit in at a farm. Obviously, this does not show that she fits in at a farm. Is she joking? Like, what's going on?
I was very unserious the whole time I was there. I feel like everyone was taking everything so serious, and I was like, you guys, it's a joke. But like for that picture, I actually took that picture in Mexico at like I had a photo shoot. And it's like a really old photo, but basically the night before I was going on it, I got a text from the producers and they were like, can you bring like something like a memory of you? And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, I didn't know what to bring, like a baby picture. I was like, that's kind of weird. So it's on my wall, like it's literally still on my wall, like I have like a wall of pictures. And my mom was like, well, you're in a cowgirl hat, just like bring that. I literally took it off my wall, put it in my suitcase, didn't think about it again, got on the plane. Then when the producers came to our hotel, they were like, oh, what's your memory? And I pulled out a photo of myself and they were dying laughing. They were like, this is so good. And then we go to film and they have me bring it and they're like, oh, you're going to give it to him. And I was like, and what? They're like, you're going to give it to him. It's like your memory. I was like, you're joking. Like I was I was sweating. Like I was and it was so hot. And I was like, I was having a heart attack and I was not prepared and I was so nervous. But it came off like I was really confident and I was like, this is me. But I was actually like, they were like, no, like you have to do this.
That's incredible. I mean, it's funny because your delivery of it is so deadpan, but you can kind of tell that, that you're not taking it super seriously.
No, I was like,
But
this
you're
is
like, no,
funny.
this shows that I will fit in on the farm. It's me in a
Yeah,
cowboy hat.
yeah,
It was
no.
incredible.
It was just, yeah, I should have thought before I put it in my suitcase, but it is what it is.
No, it seems like fated that you had that on your wall ready to go on Farmer
Right.
Wants a Wife.
Framed everything. Yeah.
Were you like a little surprised that he invited you to the farm, given that your whole thing was like, I have no idea what it's like to be on a farm?
I wasn't. Hmm. I thought he was gonna bring. If I'm being honest, I thought he was gonna bring me back. I wasn't like he's not going to. But towards the end, I was like, maybe not. There's always everything for me. Like I'm pretty confident, but there was always in the back of my mind through the entire experience that this is not my area of expert. Like this is not my vibe either. So I always like I kind of second guessed everything. So
Yeah.
I didn't know if he was going to bring me back, but I kind of thought like he was. I also thought that the producers would want to bring me back because I'm like, and it would be entertaining because I'd be in shock.
Yeah, the fish out of water element on this show is a very important part of the
Hmm.
comedy.
Yeah.
Um, and Rachel, you also, we only saw a glimpse of you, I think, during the speed dates, saying that you were
Yeah,
ready because you got your lashes and nails done, right?
I
yeah,
love
but
that.
it's funny because when they show that, you know how they can just edit everything the way that they want. His response wasn't okay, like what they put it as. So I looked stupid, and everyone's laughing. They're like, "Oh my God, the way he responded to that." I was like, "Well, that wasn't his real response. It was just like to make a funny like clip."
I
But
mean,
he didn't say that. The context of that conversation was I was trying to tell him, like, even though I look like someone that's always done up high maintenance, lashes done, nails done, I'm willing to leave that behind to be living the farm life. That's what I told him. That was the context of why I mentioned hair and nails. So when I saw the clip, I'm like, that was not the conversation.
Yeah, it makes it look like a little out of touch with what's
Yeah, yeah.
happening. Yeah. It's funny because even if you know that things are chopped up when they're presented to you, you're still like, I guess that was the conversation. I don't know what else could possibly have happened.
No, I
Uh,
remembered everything. That's why I was like, wait,
yeah.
I did not say. I was telling everyone. I was like, I did not say it in that way, like, because I kind of looked like an airhead in that one little clip, and they did that. I'm like, I did
Yeah.
not respond in that way to
Mm,
make it look
I look
like,
like an airhead the whole time, so it's like you're fine. I looked so dumb the entire time, so you're okay.
no. No, you guys were so funny. I mean, that's part of the joy of the show. And if everyone was just like, I'm so excited to get dirt under my fingernails, it would not be a fun show at all. But also he invited you back, Rachel. So obviously he wasn't like, oh, okay, this
yeah, I know.
girl.
I was surprised. To be honest, I was very, very surprised because I didn't think that he was gonna pick me. I was telling everyone, I'm like, it's okay, I'm going home. I was like, don't worry, y'all all gonna stay. I'm the one that's gonna be leaving because he everyone else pretty much like not necessarily like look the same, but they have the same features. Like
Mm,
they were had blonde hair and either color eyes or something. And I'm like, I'm the only one. Well, me and one other girl was the only one, but I'm like, I'm really out of touch with this life, like the most out of touch. So I was for sure like, you know what? He's definitely gonna send me home. So I was super surprised.
yeah. I feel like he also doesn't project a lot of enthusiasm generally. So I feel like it would be hard to read if he was super interested in
Yeah,
you.
that's true. I didn't realize that though when we were there. After like speaking to him more and being on the episodes, I noticed that that's just his character, just be quiet. You don't really understand his emotion. You don't know, like you just don't know anything of how he feels.
Yeah, that's interesting. So once you guys get back to the farm, Julia, we saw a lot of you obviously on Jay's farm, seeming really put off by being on a farm. I really related. I'm an indoor person and like the bugs, the poop, the dirt, it's like, no, thank you, not for me. But also, you kept saying, like, I do like it here, just not any of the bugs or dirt or poop or animals.
I liked the
So, yeah, say more.
quietness. I liked the quietness, the peace, the like, we were far in the middle, there was nothing happening around us. So I liked that aspect of it. I love the horse, like, obsessed. But yeah, no, the farm work, like, the chick, like, they're cute, but I'm not trying to take care of them. So. Yeah, I was in shock and I was just not prepared. And also, I think that we were in a completely different like environment. Like we're all living in the same house. I was sharing a room with like two girls. We were in bunk beds. Like they kind of skipped over that part. Like the house that we were staying at, well, it was his house. That makes me sound like a bitch. It just wasn't like it was just a lot to be living. So it's just like the entire experience, like the whole thing. And honestly, there was a lot they clipped me a lot. Like a lot was
Hmm.
clipped. So like the amount of times that they put in there that I said I was from Malibu, I probably said it twice and I think they reused it over and over. Like I was like I can't hear this again. But so I was like I wasn't saying it that much, but it looks like I was. But they definitely clipped me like there was actually we did this where we like moved hay, which I think you guys saw like a little clip of us moving the
Hmm.
hay. I in fact was actually really good at that. And Jay said to me, he was like, "Oh, I'm really shocked that like you were able to move the hay and you were like willing to pitch in and whatnot." That was the one activity I was good at, and they just why leave that in? So I like, yeah, so there was parts of me, that's why he was had me stay, and that's why we were both like, because there was little parts they left out where it was like, oh, she can do this. Also, Jay's personality, it kind of would flip, like who he would show to like Grace and who he would show to me were kind of like two different people. So
Mm.
it kind of got confusing, and that's why him and I did sort of get along when we weren't around like the whole group, and that's why I lasted as long as I did. It's because he
Yeah.
does have that football, like not city, but like that football listen to rap music side to him. He just wasn't showing it, so that's why. But people don't see that.
Yeah. You brought out like a different side in
Yeah.
him. And I remember him saying he liked your humor. And I was like, well, we haven't seen much of that between them, but like we see your humor. And clearly
Hmm.
he was seeing it and appreciating it. But
Right.
they, sometimes there's a character they have in mind that
Yeah,
they
no, they
just
just
want to
made me
show
look
those
so stupid
parts.
and like a princess, like just a complete brat.
But so you were sort of like, oh, there are parts of this I like. Maybe I could kind of get used to it or acclimate. And then over time, it was more and more like, maybe
Yeah.
not.
And then by the time he had me like shovel the shit, I was like, I told you I didn't want to do this, and now I think you're just doing
Yeah.
it. Now you're just making me do something I don't want to do just for your own entertainment. And we really got off to a off like when they were picking all the girls at the first round to bring back, he picked me last. And off camera I asked him like, why'd you pick me last? And he's like, because I want to humble you. And that like immediately kind of got us off, and then I couldn't let it go. And I was like, well, I don't want a man to try and humble me. Like that really threw me off, and it was like a whole thing. So that was kind of like, so there was
Oh
always
my
kind of a
God.
tension between Jay and I, because I was like, I didn't like that. And his whole point throughout the whole show was to kind of humble me. And I was just like, I don't know who you think you are, because this is like not necessary. But yeah.
That's wild. I can't believe he said that to you.
Uh-huh.
I
Actually, he
don't
said it
think,
on camera too. When I was leaving, the conversation got brought up again.
oh my
It
God.
didn't air.
Well, because when they show you like scooping the cow poo, and you did say in the first episode, like, I won't do that. And
Right.
when he has you guys do that, he's like, I want to see if Julia will do this. Like, he was testing
Like,
you.
right, I just said I wouldn't do that. And also, they left all the funny clips because when we were actually scooping it, I was telling Grace, I was like, we're too pretty to be doing this. Like, put the shovel down. Like, this is crazy. Like, I kept saying that. But then they don't air the part of me being like, we're too pretty to be doing this. Of course, they air the part of me, like, complaining.
You're like,
And whatever.
I'm too from Malibu to do this, is like
I'm
what they
like,
show.
I'm tired of hearing that. Yeah.
I mean, that was one of my favorite scenes. I'm sorry. It was really funny.
No, it was good.
Um, I mean, it's just, it's good television. But I thought that, I mean, I found both of your characters like quite endearing in a lot of ways. And like, it's relatable to not want to shovel poop, I think. Like, I think a lot of
Right.
us don't want to shovel poop.
Well, I got so much hate through everything I did, so I was like, whatever.
Really?
Hmm.
Oh, that makes me sad. Have you gotten a lot of both of you? Have you gotten fan response that surprised you?
No, I don't think anything
I
that was surprising. I figured well how I was gonna be viewed. I figured I was gonna be viewed like that just because of how
Mm,
I am, and the viewership of Farmer Wants a Wife is girls that are not from the city typically. Like they're more girls that live that lifestyle. So them viewing me
mm.
is like, oh my God, get this girl out of here. You know, so
right.
it wasn't surprising like seeing their responses towards me.
I thought I'd have like a 50-50 split. I didn't think it would be like all like she's nuts. Like I didn't think it would all be like they didn't like me. Like I thought it'd be like a 50-50, but I don't care, and I'm like whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah. No, that really sucks. And sometimes the negative people who are feeling negative are much more eager to get into your comment sections and your DMs,
Oh, I
and
looked at Reddit
it's
once and I
horrible.
never
Oh,
again. Never,
oh God.
never
No.
again will I look at
No.
Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Never that also never again. Like no.
No, absolutely. What do they know? I mean, they don't know anything. Um, and they'll forget about it soon. So you don't need to take any of that to heart. But it is like the viewership of the show, like it's definitely geared towards more of, yeah, like a certain viewership that's reflected in a
Mhm.
lot of, I think, the women who are also on the show. But you guys definitely diverged a little bit from that sort of like, I grew up on a farm. I've always wanted to get back to that, like, kind of persona. Um, but it takes all types. So, people should be nice. Rachel, we didn't see quite as much of your experience on Matt's farm. You said you found it a little boring. So once you were there, were you kind of like, it's not really realistic that I would end up here? Or were you staying pretty open minded to that?
Um, I'm not gonna lie, I was still half and half just because like the type of farm I wanted and truly would have loved to be on was a farm like Julia's because I love animals. So even though it's much, Julia would have much preferred my farm because you didn't have to do none of that. You just walk around, maybe take some avocados off a tree, like, that's easy. But it wasn't what I would have loved to do and enjoy to do, you know? I would have loved to be with animals because I always had animals all my life. I have two dogs. So picking up poop is something like normal, especially if you're a dog mom, especially for all these years that I've had animals. So it was more okay with me, and I was so happy and willing to do that. I wanted to see cows, anything, like any animal, but he didn't have
Yeah.
nothing. So
He
it
didn't
was
even have like a dog or a cat around or a
he
guinea
had
pig.
like a two stray cats was around, but that was it. We barely saw the cats.
That's, I mean, a farm needs at least a dog, I would think.
Yeah, actually, yeah. They should have he should have a dog, but because I would
Rachel,
have
Mm.
I would
been
love
like
to see you with the cows.
I would have loved to do that
No,
though.
when we
Like
were
even
Yeah.
filming, we almost had the cows were charging at the crew, and we had to like it was bad. It was that's why in my clips
okay, that's kind of
like
scary.
I look like I'm scared. I'm backing up, and it's literally because the cows were like Jay was telling us to stand behind him. He was like, maybe stand behind me. Like they were not. The cows were not happy with us being in there, and it was like a whole thing. And I was like, oh, that's why I said I'm not going to get charged at by a bull. Like this is crazy because it was a problem.
Oh my
That's
God.
hilarious.
Yes,
No, see, cows are really cute until you realize that they are enormous and heavy, and they
they
could
were
definitely kill
adorable,
you
and I
if they were
loved them.
trying.
I loved them, but when he charged at the lighting man or I was like, or the sound man, I was like, oh no.
No. Oh God. Yeah, I guess that's disorienting for a cow that's been living a quiet life to have like a bunch of camera equipment and
Mhm.
beautiful women in the field all of a sudden. So one thing that really struck us this season, especially in comparison to previous seasons of the show, was that there was more like drama among the women on the farms. And so we do have to talk a little bit about all of those conflicts. Rachel, you were at Matt's farm, as we've said, and you ended up leaving after there was a little bit of drama in the house because the morning after Hale's solo date, she wasn't in her bed, right? And then you and the other women were suspicious that she and Matt were like secretly together. Can you tell us anything about what happened that morning that we might have missed?
Um, so basically before her solo date with him was when everything happened. That's why.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was
yeah, that was
before.
before the solo date.
Oh,
So
okay.
the morning of when she ended up coming back, I would say a couple hours later is when he was able to pick someone for the solo date and he chose her. So everything
Oh.
was just like adding up, like, okay, that everything is making sense to
Hmm.
most likely her being with him. Aside from her not being in the room, they missed the most important fact, which was she snuck out a window to go out. So that's why it was everything, all the details to the story is what made us all believe that. And obviously, the girls wanting to stay has nothing to do with like how I view to be with a man and thinking like, okay, if he's with this girl, I'm automatically thinking he's choosing him and he already has his eyes on someone. I don't want to waste my time, especially with someone that's not honest, because if he honestly had said, hey, look, I was with her, I'm sorry for that, for it not being fair to all you guys. I would have respected it because I respect a man that is honest and truthful. So if it was for that, I would have stood. But because there was no honesty and because of all the facts to why we believed that she was with him, made me realize like, yeah, they were. For me, it was 100% that they were together. So knowing that and not getting the truth from him made me say like, I gotta go. You know.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I'm like, it's as a viewer, it seemed plausible to me that she might have just like gotten up to see the sunrise. And so then I was like, why is Rachel so sure that that's not what happened? And like sneaking out the window definitely adds. And like, how do you know that she snuck out the window? Did she like climb back in the window later?
No, the window the window was open, and
Oh.
It was one of those windows and it was next to the ground. So it was easy. Like if I wanted to, I would just crawl out. It wasn't like you had to jump down or something.
Right.
Like you just crawl out, it was easy. It was one of those lock windows and you pull to the side where it was a huge long window. So it was super easy to just pop out of there. But it was so much clues make to why we thought that she was there, like with him. Because imagine Alex woke up at 5:30 in the morning, woke us all up like she's missing. Um, and think about it. If you are going to see the sunrise I think was like 6:37. So leaving prior to 5:30, no idea when she left. It's like it don't make sense if you're gonna go out and journal for what 4 hours in the pitch black dark.
And go
Like
out
it
the
just
Yeah.
front
doesn't make
door.
sense.
Go out the
It
front door.
Yes, and then that
Yeah.
too was like go out the front door. Apparently, Matt. Well, not apparently, but Matt did tell us that there was a mountain lion or a bear seen in the area. So he said, "Be careful." I forgot which one it was, but why would you go out in some place that you've only been for like 3 days and put yourself at risk? When he just had told us like, "Hey, be careful." It was pitch black, dark outside, pitch black. And another
Yeah.
thing is on Matt's farm, there was like a little, I would say, backyard door, and next to his backyard door, there was like a chair that you can sit on with a little fire pit. So if you wanted to go out, that little spot next to the farm did have a little like light, a chair, like it was a comfortable area right next to where we're staying at, literally right out of the door. So it was like if you could have stayed anywhere, you could have stood right there, not in the pitch black dark. So every detail just didn't make sense, like every single detail. And
Yeah.
that's why I 100% was like, look, obviously you girls do what you want. You guys are already here, like everyone's gonna be dating this one man, but I truly believe that honesty is the biggest component for me, for a man to have. So I was like, you know what, I'm out of here. Like he's not being honest. I can't respect a man that can't be honest. And I had to go.
Yeah. I really wish we could have time to see the full list of evidence because that was very compelling.
Yeah.
Um, but we didn't get that much in the episode, so I was like, "What are we missing here?" Okay, so by the time of the barn dance, you're feeling like this is not the situation for me. I'm just gonna leave,
Mhm.
and you feel good about that decision. You're like, that was the right time for me to go.
Yeah, I think it was honestly a perfect time for me to go because of how everyone was feeling, not only me, but everyone was feeling, and I'm like, it just doesn't feel good to be in a house where everyone's upset. It's like the energy of all the women being upset and feeling that they know what has happened and then not getting any honesty. Like everything just made sense. Like I didn't want to stay dating a man that I felt wasn't honest, and then I didn't want to also stay in a environment that everyone was just so sad and stressed out. Like we were literally all in shambles because of what we believed had happened. So I was like, the environment, the man. I was like, you know what? This is the perfect time for me to go, say my goodbyes, because it was too much for me. It was
Yeah,
way too much. Yeah.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Julia, you were there a little bit longer, and you ended up in on sort of one side of a split in the farm. I mean, it was really just Tiana and the rest of the women
Hmm.
on Jay's farm. Um, when did you all start to feel that disconnect with Tiana? Was it pretty immediate?
Oh, yeah. Before, like, when we left to go to the farm, like, Karina and Tiana almost got into, like, an argument over, like, the grocery list. Like, it was immediate. It was immediate, like, tension. Um, but as, like, far as Tiana, as, like, just her personality would switch a lot. Like,
Mm,
she would act one way on camera. Like, off camera, she was towards the end, she was really funny, and like that's why you saw us like eating food after and getting along. But in the beginning, like her personality would just like switch, and I'm like, who are you? And then she would take a lot of things that we would say off camera and then repeat them like they were her own words. And that was how her and Karina really like started to like get into it is because she kept taking things Karina was saying and then saying them on camera like that was her thing. And it was like, even I know Vivi had problems with her, like she wouldn't like she would over talk. Like she would honestly, there's dinners that were filmed and we would just sit there and she would be the only one talking forever. And she would just go on and it would like you'd be fighting to get a word in. But even after we were done filming, we were texting and I said to her, like, I have like proof of all these texts being like, you personality was switching up and I'm just like confused because one minute you were like really funny and chill and like fun to be around and then the next minute it was just like your personality was completely different. And she's like, well, I'm an actor. I was acting the whole time. Like, of course, like that was her whole thing. So she would always talk, she was texting me saying like she's an actor. I went to acting school, like my mom knew from the start that I was going to act like this and play this part and this role. And then, so when she was going after me on TikTok, like, I'm not going to argue with her on TikTok. I'm not I'm not going to argue with an unstable person. Like, I'm not in the mood. So I was like, not into it. But like, I don't know why she would try and argue with me because I was like, I literally have all the proof of you admitting that you were acting and you were doing it just to be on TV. Like, I'm just like, I don't understand. But it was just like a lot of tension in the house. And I'm not like a mean person. Like even after that whole filming went down where we had like that like bicker back and forth, when we were in Nashville, we had a day off and we went shopping and I was making sure she was feeling included because the other two were kind of just like so over her and didn't want anything to do with her. So they were just not talking to her. And I was trying to like have her feel included. And that's why you saw us like in the kitchen eating food and like, you know, like I was trying, even though I knew, mind you, we're also living in a house together. So like, yes, I cannot like the girl and have issues with her, but I also can't continue to like argue with her over and over like we're living in the same house in a small house together. There's only so much I can do. But I told her after, I was like, you scared me. Like your personality was all over the place. And she was like, well, I was acting. And I was like, well, you could have told me that. Like, she's like, I didn't know who to trust. And I'm like, okay, well, I thought you were crazy. Like, and but she would also just make digs to all of us. Like she knew me for like maybe like I don't know, a week and then she was telling me to look in the mirror and like basically calling me a hoe. And I'm like, I don't know you. She was like, I thought we were close enough to make a joke like that. I'm like, we barely know each other. Like I've known you for not even a week. And then I know she was trying to say that, like in her TikTok comments, she was trying to say that I called her a hoe first. And I'm like, first of all, if that happened, they would have, that you would have immediately said that when I said that. Like there would have been some sort of, somebody would have said something. Like it wouldn't have just like flown under the radar. Like the moment I said to her, you said this to me, she would have been like, well, you said it first. But then I'm like, so on TikTok, you're going to say that I said it first, but then on camera, you're going to be like, sorry, I did say that because you know you couldn't sit there to my face and tell me that I said it first because I never said that. So it was just like, it was just a lot. And yeah, but I mean, you're living with someone. Like, I didn't want to make it miserable forever, but I also didn't. And that's, she felt isolated because honestly, she was repeating everything we were saying. So we just kind of stopped talking. Like, we were just kind of silent. So I think that's where she started to feel isolated because we were like, okay, well, we can't talk around her because everything we say, she says on camera. And it just, that's kind of where that started.
That's so interesting. I feel like that's like a hard thing to like convey in that setting, but
Yeah.
it's almost like she's taking your comments as like scripts and then she's going to like
Yeah, and then
perform
like
them.
going on her Instagram and calling us mean girls. I'm like, oh, please. Like, if anything, you were the one that was being mean to us, and we just reacted with silence instead of like being mean back.
Yeah. It's interesting, like from a viewer perspective, like the things that you felt she was doing, we don't really like see any of
Right.
that. And so then what we see is all of you icing her out or talking behind her back or saying to Jay, like, oh, she just wants your attention. And it doesn't look great. Like watching it back, how did it feel to see that that was how it was like coming through on screen?
It's a little, it can be frustrating because I'm like, okay, we look like a clique, but it didn't look great. But I mean, I can't control like the editing, the way they're clipping things, the stuff they're leaving out. Like I can't I know they had like dinners where she was the one talking over everything. I know her and Karina had a situation that was brought up on camera. They just cut it out about them arguing over like something Tiana took off, like repeated to Jay. Like it was just like a lot of things like that were cut out.
Mm.
But Tiana saying also that she was shocked that like she had no idea and she felt blindsided. I'm like, I don't know how you felt blindsided when you were aware of when you were in the house feeling uncomfortable. You couldn't be blindsided by what we're saying on camera when you in the house felt uncomfortable and we're talking about it. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's not great that it makes us look like the way it made us look, but also I'm a very honest person and I'm gonna just like say it how it is. So obviously that's gonna make me look like the bigger bitch because she's gonna tone down what she says and think
Mm.
before she talks sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, if someone is like behaving differently on and off camera, that is tricky to like capture. But
Yeah.
it's always one of those things where we're like, it can cut two ways. Like, if everyone in the house dislikes one person, either that person is really alienating everyone or they're forming a clique. And it can be
And she
hard to like
wasn't
tell.
alienated. She really, like,
Yeah.
honestly, she wasn't. She was with us, like, the whole time. I think the only time she felt it is because we would go into our bedroom, but we were all staying in that room, like, the three of us
Mm.
together, and then she was in her room by herself. So when Vivi left, she was by herself in that room. So I think she wanted one of us to go into them. She never expressed that. She never said to us, I feel alone? Can one of you come in my room? Like, she never said that, so we didn't know. And yeah, she wasn't. We would have movie nights on the couch.
Mm.
And like, so like we weren't as bad as it like is looking.
Yeah. But you guys just weren't feeling like comfortable
No, the
being like
girls weren't
open
feeling
with her.
comfortable. And then,
Yeah.
she just would make little digs here and there. And it was
Hmm.
kind of like, did you like really just say that? But like, and then you're like, you don't know what to do. But she would do that constantly. And it's like not funny. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, yeah, it does seem like you kind of squashed it on the show. Like after the barn dance, everything they show between all of you and Tiana is pretty friendly. And
Yeah,
you
because she
both
started to
ended up
act
leaving.
normal again.
Right.
Like she started to act like the person that she was acting normal. And then I was like, oh, okay, like you're acting normal. That's why I felt comfortable enough to say to her, like, I thought you were crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
So that's where you left things. But then, like, recently it has
well, I
been.
think she just saw it and just panicked and just started
Mm,
posting. But like, I'm not gonna go to war on
yeah.
TikTok. Like, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. No one needs that. No one needs that energy in their life. Um, so you both ended up leaving like around halfway through the season. Julia, you left when Jay brought home Rissa from his setup date with his mom.
Oh, my ex, it looks horrific. I look terrible. Oh my God. Mom was like, you look, this is bad. I was like, yeah, this isn't great. Yeah, it's not great.
Why? Because you said that he was lucky to have you there, or like,
Well, that he was, but that he was. No, it was just more so, again, like it was edited differently.
mm,
I expressed that I wanted to go home. So it was very mutual. Like they make it look like he sent me home and like it just wasn't working, but like in reality like I wanted to go home. That's why when you guys saw me zipping up my suitcase, my stuff was already packed. Like I wanted so was Tiana's. Like I wanted to leave. I was like, get me out of here. Like the producers knew that I wanted to leave. So when we sat down, it was very mutual. Obviously, like Rachel was saying, her first date with Matt, like things were edited to make her look. My exit was definitely like edited. The things that I was saying and he was responding to were like not the same thing. Um,
mm-hmm.
so yeah, my exit doesn't look great. Um, but it was mutual, and again, like I circled back with him saying that the moment you told me you wanted to like humble me and you felt like that was one of your goals, that's kind of where it went south. Like I don't love that. And then he was saying like, "Oh, you wouldn't like shovel the shit." And I was like, "I don't know why you're shocked. I said I wouldn't do that from the start." So like I'm not sure what your point is. What else did I say? I mean, he was boring. Like that I wasn't lying. Like that he just wasn't my cup of tea. But again, his personality was just different. Like she's just has a different personality.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think it's not nice to send home two girls after you bring another girl back. Like that's not the nicest thing a guy can do either, even though we were ready to go home. I do wish it was
Yeah.
showed like how it was mutual and how I wanted to go home as well, and I explained to
Yeah.
him why I wanted to go home, but I mean, it is what it is.
It's interesting because I think almost what I felt was happening, which was inaccurate, obviously, was that you were annoyed to be dumped because you wanted to dump him. And it just is kind of embarrassing to be dumped by someone you
Yes.
don't want.
I was like, I was like, this is crazy because I was just
Yeah.
annoyed and I was like, so that's why I was saying like whatever because I was just like, yeah, I was like, this. I was set up.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like,
But
no, 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 this is not. So yeah, no, my reaction looks terrible, and it's just because I also wanted to go home, and when I said whatever, I did not respond to whatever he said. Like that was completely not what happened.
yeah, no, that's a classic. That's a classic edit. But yeah, I think that that makes sense. Nothing to me is more infuriating than being dumped by someone I'm not into. It's like, who asked
Yeah,
you?
and
Like,
I even
okay.
said to him because he even said he was like, I can tell that you're not as interested the last few weeks, and I was like, I'm not. Like, I'm kind of checked out. You can tell I don't want to be here. Like, he knew that. I was very checked out. I was over it. Um, but yeah, it's just hard because also I went on that date and he was like, you seem like you don't want to be here. And then I responded and said, like, I do. And because I did, like, at that time, I was like, we were only there for like maybe a week or two, something like that. And I was like, it's not that bad. And I was like, the animals and the nature, and like, I was enjoying it. And his personality was starting to show more. And then after some things happened, I was like, this is not for me. But I never
Yeah.
claimed when I went on the show, like never once did I say like I always said that I was willing to try it and I was down for the experience. I never said that like this was my ideal like I need to be with a farmer. I was like I'll try it. The men in LA suck, like why not? Like I'll try the experience, but it just like wasn't for me.
Yeah, you've given it a shot now. You both gave it a shot. Would you ever consider marrying a farmer in the future?
No. No. I no. It won't happen.
Dang, I
Yeah.
still don't know. I
Yeah.
wouldn't know because he just Matt specifically just wasn't for me. That like the lifestyle, I feel like it's a nice lifestyle. It's not like I hated it or loved it, but it was something that I could get used to. So just because Matt wasn't the person, it could be somebody else, you know, like I'm not sure yet. It could sit,
Yeah.
you never know. I could marry a farmer in 5 years. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, you do it again. So you
Yeah.
both learned something. Julia, you would never marry a farmer. Rachel, you're still open to it. What else did you learn about yourselves or what you want during this experience?
Personally, because of Matt's personality, I realized I wanted someone that was more open and more like social, more vocal. Because he was very quiet and shy. And of course, like for me in the beginning, it was like, oh my God, that's so cute. Like he's always smiling and quiet. But then it became frustrating because it's like, okay, like, do you like anyone? Can you like be more vocal? Can you tell me how you feel? Like, I just felt at a point like when he didn't kick anyone out of the farm, I figured like do you really like all of us? I didn't think he did, you know?
Mm,
Um it was just confusing to understand what he liked and what he didn't. I just felt like at a point I just thought he just wasn't trying to be mean to us and sending someone home. Like I was confused. I was like, are you trying to be nice or do you actually like all of us and want to get to know us more? It was confusing, you know. So it made me realize like I would want to be with someone that's more vocal and about their feelings towards me.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You want to know where they stand.
Yeah.
And did you guys take away any new friendships from being on the show?
I personally loved all the girls I was on the show, prior to the whole situation with the girl that snuck out, right before all that happened, we had the best friendship ever. Like it seemed like these were gonna be like lifetime long friends. Um, but after that, of course, just like we kind of fell out with that one person because of what happened, and we just didn't feel like there was any honesty. But they were still the girls that I met there were still great girls. They were amazing. They were supportive. So we still talk to this day, and I love that personally. I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah, I met some great girls too. Like I'm like in a group chat with Karina and Grace. I love them. They're so sweet. So yeah, them, and I feel like a lot of people didn't know that Rachel and I were friends, but we would like hang out off camera. Even at the barn dance, we were together the entire time, but they cut that. Um, and Zoe, I like we talk here and there. Zoe, um, yeah, but the girls were all like, for the most part, except for Tiana, were fine. She's the only one I had problems with. But other than that, it was fun.
And sometimes that brings everyone else closer together
True.
in a weird way. So before I let you guys go, I'd love to hear like what you're both up to now, like professionally, dating wise. Would you ever go on another dating show in the future? Like, Rachel, you can go first.
So professionally wise, I do casting like how it is for behind the scenes of a show. So I do casting already. I own an agency since 2019, and the I know on TV they say I told them I was a lash tech. It was only because I was like getting into that, like trying that out. And I didn't want that to be something that other people seen because I feel like being a casting director and knowing a lot of people personally and being around other celebs or whatever the case may be, other people try to like leech on to people like that, and I noticed I
Mm,
didn't gain genuine friends, and it was more so of like who could I bring them around. So I didn't want to say that out loud to anyone. I literally didn't tell no one that till after the show. I was like, yeah, like I'm not a lash tech, I'm a casting director. I just didn't feel like people would like me for me, and more so of where after the show, where can I bring them to, or whether it's events or put them in a commercial shoot with a famous brand. Like I didn't want that type of energy for the girls that I meet. So I was like, you know what, let me just say I'm a lash tech and just keep me being a casting director to the side, even though that's the what I've been doing since 2019. So I just kept that on the low, and I was just telling everyone I was a lash tech. I know, crazy, but even Matt didn't know none of that. It's just
oh,
and
wow.
then on top of that too, a man knowing a woman is in like the entertainment industry might be off-putting too. So I was like, obviously I would be willing to tell him that at a certain point, which I did. At a certain point, I did tell him just so I can see his real viewpoint on me, but. I kept that on the low, but yes, professionally, that's what I do. That's like the only thing really that I do now. And in terms of like dating, I am willing to go on another dating show maybe in the future if it doesn't work out for me, but I am currently like out there putting myself out there today. And if it doesn't work out again, I will for sure be on, hopefully be on a dating show. The Bachelor, Love is Blind, something like that. I would definitely be open to doing just to maybe see if, look, second or third time might work being on a show. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes it
Yeah.
takes a couple shows
Yeah.
before it sticks.
Unfortunately.
Julia, what about
And
you?
I model, and I model, I do runway, so I'm just gonna continue to do that. I would totally go on another reality show, dating or not dating. I think it would be fun. So I'm totally open to doing that. And I just continue to like live my normal life in LA.
Yeah.
I don't have a boyfriend. I am still single.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know who I'm going to date next or how that's gonna go. I feel like dating in New York and LA, as you guys know, is hard. Like the guys are just everywhere and with everyone. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely would do another dating show. Which one that maybe I don't know, but maybe I'd have better luck.
If you were going to do
Um,
a non dating reality show, what kind of show would you want to do?
oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I just watched Boot Camp on Netflix,
Okay.
and Yeah, and it was like they did all this, like, it was other people from reality have either of you watched it or no?
No.
It's basically where they take, like, all people from different reality shows, put them in a house, and they have to do all these challenges and stuff like that. So maybe I would do something like that, but I don't know. I don't know.
I could see that.
I need to
I
be on
mean,
the Housewives when I'm older.
oh yeah. I would
That I
love
need
you
to do
on
the Real Housewives of
Housewives.
Beverly
Yes.
Hills. Yes, if I was older, that's my show.
Yeah, that your career has to build towards a Housewives arc. I would
Right.
love that. I would love
Like
to
a
see both
WAG
of
show.
you. Yes. I'd love to see both of you back on a reality show. So I can have more because I loved watching both of you this season. Thank you so much for sharing more about your experiences on this show, and tell our listeners where they can find you. Rachel, you can go first.
You guys can find me on Instagram at Rachel Eve. I kind of don't use anything else. So Instagram and TikTok, Rachel Eve.
And then my Instagram, you can find me, is juliamya.w. And all my social media handles are that.
Amazing. Thank you both again. This was super fun. I loved hearing more about you guys and your time on the show.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Yes, I'm excited. This is the first time. We've never done a podcast before.
Oh, yay.
This is our first podcast.
I'm honored. And I'm really excited for our listeners to get to know more about you guys because this was great. I'm sorry Emma couldn't make it, but
I know, that sucks.
We take turns like being horribly sick. That's just life these days. And on that note, that's it for this episode of Love to See It with Emma and Claire. Love to See It is a presentation of Odyssey. The show is produced by us, Claire Fallon and Emma Gray. This episode was edited by Ren Woods. Our theme music is by Tamar Haviv, and our art is by Aaron Nestor. If you like the show, please follow us, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. And of course, tell all your friends about our show. If you want to get in touch, you can email us at claireandemmapod@gmail.com. You can also find us on TikTok at Love to See It Pod and Instagram at Claire and Emma Pod. And you can find our newsletter Rich Text on Substack at claireandemma.substack.com. I'm also on Blue Sky and Instagram at Claire E. Fallon. You can find Emma on Blue Sky at Emma Gray and on Instagram at Emma Lady Rose. Special thanks to the team at Odyssey: Eric Donnelly, Aaron Constantino, Kate Rose, Mara Curran, Melissa Wester, Carly Snyder, and Hillary Schupf. We'll be back soon.